So this figure, torso ball joint, his torso ball joint broke, but you see now it can move, and so, and mine's kind of stuck there because I have some glue dots. Okay, all right, there we go. So I've taken these two pieces off. Some figures, if you crack them open, you do have to use super glue. Sometimes you have to use super glue on them just because, like, to stick them back together. Like, if you want to get these two pieces back together, you have to super glue them. And sometimes if you super glue them using, I currently don't have any super glue, but I have this glue. It's kind of like hot glue, except it's not really hot glue. And this one, it kind of patches these holes up right here. So you see how there's like a plastic gap there. It's not too noticeable, it's not too big, but you kind of can see it. If you put the glue, this glue is very runny, so if you put the glue outside and kind of let it cascade in, it kind of fills the crack, which there is like, if I take my tool, there is like a very slight gap right there. Like you can slide this in, kind of like a toothpick space, which that kind of seals it back up, but it's kind of finicky. You kind of just have to like experience it and figure it out as you go. So you can see there's a big glue dot stuck right here. With some glue dots, it doesn't always look very pretty, but I mean, you want to try hiding as much as you can. So if I put this back on here and I put it here, because this waist part was really loose, so if I stick this back together here, the glue dot keeps it from being wiggly. Like, it doesn't wiggle around, because you can see the glue dot there. The glue dot, when you move the plastic forward, the glue dot, you can see right there, the glue dot catches the plastic, so when you try moving it, it creates friction, which some figures, it doesn't work too good, and sometimes the joint moves on its own. But if your joints are like so crazy loose like this guy, and you put a glue dot, if you move his leg up, it's going to go down slowly on its own because there's not any plastic to hold it onto, you know? This big ball joint peg, this figure had a tiny little hole in his body. He was like this, you know? His body was like this. Like, the upper torso had a tiny little hole in the top, a very tiny hole where the peg is sticking out like this. And then this body here had like a ball joint. So the way this peg sticks out, on the very tip of it, it had like a ball joint there. And that ball joint, come on, and that ball joint was stuck in here. So the ball joint would be stuck here. And so when you had these two together, you'd be able to move it like this, you know, like a ball joint should move. Unfortunately, mine broke. And the way I could fix this was taking this piece of some other broken figure or something. It was kind of like the same joint a little bit, where I super glued it up here. I sanded down the plastic like crazy to get it to fit in the gap right there. I sanded it down like crazy. Then I took this part and I stuck them together, and I had to chop out a lot of the plastic here. I had to remove a lot of the plastic, so when you put them on, there's a lot of space to, you know, move it around. And so that way it kind of replicates a ball joint, which the ball joint rotation here doesn't matter because you have this one here, but it kind of has a tilt side to side, which comes open. I'm going to have to re-super glue that guy back together, but yeah, so that's how you fix a joint like that.